Hello everybody and welcome to this week's Tryhard Tuesdays. My name is the Blue and Wazoo, your host, here with two special hosts. Well, one special because he's always here, and that's Mr. Blue 22. How's it going, Blue?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. And the other one is special because he is our production manager and he borked our show last week, and that's Roland. Hi, Roland.
Is that the official term?
I love borked.
Yeah.
I love the word borked. I think it's perfectly... Yeah, so it was hard with the stream. There was some echo. I think it was your headset, because you remember you were like, my headset's really loud. And you were like, ah, when the music started. And you're like, the music was so loud. So I think what was happening is your headset was reverberating sound back into your microphone. And hence the echo and the annoyingness. So we're not going to do the streams for these episodes for a little while. I'm like giving just a little plug real quick. Reason being, we're going to make them perfect before we show them to all of you, and we're getting very close.
And until then, we're going to keep borking Tryhard shows as guinea pigs.
I borked too now.
Borking away.
I borked the first one, remember?
You were right.
Only one track.
We were so good that we kind of needed a handicap. We needed a limiter.
That's right.
Like LD
Here
was
we
just
go.
like, this shit is incredible, and so you had to bork it. No, he never said that. Put an asterisk by that. And in the show notes, LD never said shit about the show.
No, yeah, he has.
Not Tryhards.
Not our show.
He was talking about Defense of the Patients in general, and you guys, you know,
That's
As a
consolation
whole.
prize.
I think he even said Wazoo looks a lot like Coddle Guy, and I'm attracted to him in the same way. I think he may have
tall,
said-
spindly, and doofy.
Wow. I never thought I'd be jealous, but here I am.
Well, I heard you talking to your wife before the show started, so now we're even.
That's okay. That's all right.
lot
I'll trade her for LD any day of the week. She's not
Someone
the
rich and powerful.
She has no context. It's all right.
So it's been an interesting week of Dota. We've had the Summit 4 just closed up, 2 days ago? 2 days ago?
Sunday night.
Sunday night? No, it was Saturday, I thought. Was it?
That was Sunday night.
Sunday night.
Wow. Okay. So just yesterday it closed up. Well, 2 days ago, because this is Tuesday. And it was a really interesting tournament. Really kind of embodied the meta to this point. And it was a really interesting tournament to watch. It was lots of fun, lots of great teams, and it wasn't for a huge cash prize, but that's not really the point of the tournament. It was a very relaxed, cool event. So we'll talk about that a little bit. We do have the new patch launching soon, we think. Still haven't seen notes on it, but
There's a picture. Have you seen the picture?
Where's the patch?
Oh my god.
What's in the patch? Just tell me what's in the patch.
I just gotta show Wazoo the picture that we have here. There's a picture.
Oh, wow.
It's got Doom, Death Prophet, Faceless Void, a little Ricky Maru hiding in a smoke cloud,
Yep.
and then
a lone druid.
A lone druid.
cool. That's a really cool one. I like that. I didn't see that yet.
It's
so.
under Dota2.com/686. There's no.
Wow.
There's nothing other than this picture for the patch notes, apparently.
Pretty cool. Yeah, I didn't even know that was out. So they're teasing us a little bit. They're hopefully going to introduce some more heroes into the meta. I think it's always interesting to have Void involved. So to have him like central there shows me that maybe they're going to fix him a little
Here
bit.
we go. Here we go.
Void's a lot of fun, man. He really is.
Always
to play.
interesting to have Void involved.
Yeah, I like him.
Okay.
People hate the fucking Chrono, but
Says
that's just because they're
Wazoo.
stuck in it.
He's shock of the goddamn century.
He's good at Faceless. When we first started playing Cyphus and it was Wazoo on Faceless, me on Lich, and Cyphus on Skywrath. And that was like every game.
Yep.
TI4 meta.
Yeah.
No boots.
No boots. You don't
No
need boots on Lich.
Hey, he's fast. All right, he's a speedy motherfucker.
He just
So fair
zapping,
enough.
slowing, and makes him look fast in comparison because he slows everyone down with the blast. It's lots of fun. So that's promising to see that image because we know it's going to launch soon. They didn't launch it during the middle of the tournament, which would have been problematic, I'm sure, if all of a sudden everything was just different. So I'm glad they waited, and I'm glad it's coming. So what are your guys' thoughts on this?
I'm excited. I can't wait. I mean, I actually really liked 6.85. I mean, it had some of the biggest variety we've seen out of a patch recently. I mean, there was a definite theme with a lot of the heroes that, would fight early and get in your face, and strength melee cores had a kind of revitalization. And, we had heroes that really hadn't been a big part of the meta before, like Slardar and others who have kind of changed their roles around. And we saw the off lane kind of get some priority in terms of cores like Doom and Slardar, as previously mentioned. So I am really happy with the current patch, and I think that things are only going to get better. Maybe perhaps a little more polish on some of the heroes that have been neglected, like Proud's own Lone Druid. So I'm hoping to see some more heroes thrown into the mix. Come on, Pit Lord, Rat Dota baby. And I mean, that's all I can say so far, because we don't know what's in the patch.
We don't.
Piece of shit OS frog.
How I feel about it is, like so many Redditors have said, they're like, I don't even want to play 6.86 Valve. I just want the patch notes. I just
give me the notes.
Yeah, I just want to read the notes. That's all. Like, I really feel like it's really fun when we get the notes around here, because we're all sitting out here and we're like, oh my god, this hero is gonna be so strong now. Like this, oh my god, what that, and like I look forward to that. I remember when 6.84 came out, and that was a really, really like hard to digest. A lot of things to read, new items, new potential, things changing. And Cyphus and I read that together, and we were just like, our love for Dota had been revitalized when 6.84 came out. And then Wazoo came out, and I was like, have you heard of the mango, dude? Have you heard of the mango? Which we're just now seeing.
And I've bought like 4 mangoes ever, but
dude, I've been a mango man since day one. I'll tell you that much. You know me. I've been a mango man since day one. Stout Shield Tango's mango for life. That's offlane life right there.
Yeah, offlane life for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I think the last 2 patches, 8.4 and 8.5, have really kind of changed the way that people looked at the game. I think when we got into that troll sniper rut, in 8.3, it really kind of bogged the game down with these massive comeback mechanics and the gold swings, and you'd see the same goddamn agi carries. You'd see Juggernaut, troll, sniper, and you'd see, and like those are heroes that like every once in a while when they show up are kind of interesting, but the mechanics are pretty limited. I mean, as a troll picker and as a filthy sniper player, both of you can't really disagree with this. Am I right?
No.
Right.
I still learned a lot from 6.83, and that's how to last hit with sniper. I just now, when I hit my, my Mask of Madness, I don't run nearly as fast, which sucks. Because
that's like all you can do with sniper, man.
That's what I would do, is I would just, run away, run away. And it was fun.
And Troll was just kind of that one hero that you can't go toe-to-toe with melee to melee. And that was it. Because of whirling axes, Like
kills you in lane, he kills you in the mid game, he man fights you.
He was way too strong back then in lane. Like, I think he's at a good place now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe a little weak, but his laning phase is much, much worse, because if you shoved him out of lane, somehow he just ran into the jungle and he was fine, And so he could just catch up there easily enough. And if you tried to man fight him, he could probably take 2 to 1 in lane most of the time, just because if you got a good whirling and a good range throwing axe on.
There was a post I remember back in that day that basically summarized every hero in that patch, and how they would be viable, and how this build could literally apply to any of those heroes. And it would be you'd get like three core items to transition from the early game to the mid game, and you would just farm your ass off in the jungle, and you'd show up at 40 minutes and you would just crush face. And it was essentially phase boots, Ring of Aquila, Mask of Madness, right? Any hero that worth his salt would get those items. So you'd have your snipers, your trolls, you'd have your juggernauts. You could even do it on a Drow Ranger every once in a while. You could do it on a lot of those agi carries, and it would be relevant, and it could work almost invariably. So it was a patch that definitely had its dominant heroes, and then we transitioned to kind of 6.84, which had its prevalence in like the mid lane really came into the fold, right? Yeah. I mean the playmaker mids like the Lena's, Storm Spirit. I mean even Wind Ranger. How could we ignore him?
That
the
is so
Disco
true.
Pony, right?
Disco Pony, the only Dota hero in the Guinness Book of World Records. Not even shitting you.
Really?
They refer to
Right.
him as the Disco Pony.
Why?
For the most gold earned in the game or something
Oh.
like that. He's in the Guinness Book of World Records, and he's referred to as the Disco Pony.
Weird.
As he should be, man. I mean,
Yeah.
that guy, that was. I mean, that was like it was much like the disco era. You know, it's like at first you're like, oh yeah, this is cool and funky
Like,
and
cocaine's
fresh.
fine. Like, it doesn't hurt
yeah.
you. It's not addictive.
Oh, this is novel. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Yeah, you want all this? Come on, get all up in this. And then like by the time the patch is over, it's like everyone's like, oh my god, just like nerf this asshole into the ground. Disco is dead. You know, you just murdered, and they just slaughtered him. I mean, really, like he went to a glue factory or something somewhere. You know,
Yeah,
like,
seriously.
he got melted. I think if we look at his win rate from 6.84 to 6.85, I think it went down from 57% to 45%.
Oh, Jesus. Well, if you think about this, which this is what really got me, is he got nerfed by the Bloodstone. And he also got, that's the indirect nerf that he got. And the direct nerf that he got was the jump distance with lightning, right? Mm-hmm. Which, can you believe that I think they nerfed it 300 units, the jump distance, wasn't it 950 to 650? I think it's somewhere around there. It's crazy that a hero can go from 57% to 45% with basically that nerf.
Well, that just goes
Like,
to show
that
that
small of a
lightning.
nerf.
It's integral to his entire success.
Yeah.
The slow was the biggest fucking thing because not only did it slow so you could catch up and disco them to fucking death, but also it set up the stun
His
perfectly.
Q, yeah.
Just set it up perfectly every time.
It allowed him to combo a lot easier.
Yeah.
And now...
Which it shouldn't be that easy.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's
I
where
agree.
it should be.
And the damage got nerfed a ton. I mean, at level 4, it was 260, and then it went down to 200, which really, like in a vacuum, doesn't sound like it's that big. But that thing is on like a 3 or 4 second, 4 second cooldown. So
And
when you're
multiple
losing,
targets.
And you
exactly,
just get wicked jumps, you know?
yeah,
Yeah, multiple
And
targets.
When you're losing that much damage on that number of targets, and a spell that you're supposed to be spamming, again with Bloodstone, which was nerfed severely in the last patch. So you know those two or three different things really just like completely bopped him on the head. Same thing with Storm Spirit with that increase to the ultimate, the mana cost on that. I mean, there's a lot of things that really changed the way that the mid lane is played, and that was another thing to me that I think, and we'll get into this later, but one of the things that we haven't talked about, or we didn't talk about a lot of when the patch first came out, was how it would impact the way the mid is viewed. And I think it's gone from a role where you can kind of just make stacks for your carry and or for your mid and leave them alone, like you would with Storm Spirit or Leshrac, to where you actually have like a dedicated babysitting support, right? Like how many times would we ask, you know, like even at our level, Cyphus, we'd be like, Cyphus, come on, just use your Q as Winter Wyvern, just hit the guy a couple times mid, you know, just to knock him down a little bit, give the advantage to our mid, babysit him a little bit, you know, Dazzle, just come mid lane and give some heals, you know, asking for all those different things. It's odd how like the way the lanes have been prioritized is you've almost seen a shift in your real carry has moved, you know, maybe not moved, but like shifted a little bit more towards a mid-centric carry, right? Like your Shadow Fiends and all that.
Which is so fucking cool. I mean, that's what I really appreciate about 6.85 is that it broke some, like, I don't know, some blocks in some people's heads where it's like, no, mid is always solo no matter what. If you come mid with me, you're reported, fuck you. And now it's like, wait, even people in pubs are like, yeah, come dual lane mid for a little while.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to need the help. Which is, I mean, even at like a 2K level is really cool to see, like, helping an alchemist or whatnot. Like, yeah, I do think the carry role has changed a little bit.
Well, the farm priority has definitely changed because instead of looking at it purely as an EXP advantage position, the mid lane, it's looked at more like get a gold advantage and then we can catch you up on stacks, kind of like we talked about in a previous show. Or the mid, if he's going to go dual or go single against a dual lane, he's looking to catch up on those stacks EXP wise, just so he can kind of be ahead. Like it gives the mid lane a lot of duality in the sense that you can look at multiple ways to win, and you don't just need to look at like completely just shutting the other guy out of lane.
Yeah,
and that's what I really like about it.
Me too.
And it's not only like it's not it's not that 1v1 like completely skill and we're all about making big plays kind of mids. I mean, how many times have we seen a team with just like an alchemist farming passively for the first 10 minutes completely face roll people 10 minutes later because he got so farmed so fast? Same thing with Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend's rarely, if you're looking at two really good players, it's rare to see a Shadow Fiend get like a first blood on a mid player if the other mid player knows what they're doing. But what they do is they force the mid player to tank some hits, tank raises, tank hits from the creeps while they try to draw the creep aggro. I mean, there's just a lot of different things that
they never get denies.
Exactly,
because you're just raising the waves, and how are you going to deny it when I'm bursting down the creep wave in 2 raises? Like,
yeah, and
good luck.
It's why you don't see those heroes like Pucks anymore, because they're all about like winning a 1v1 matchup and outplaying the enemy player, because he doesn't have to outfarm him. There's not like the win condition if you're a Puck mid is to beat the other mid. The win condition is not, oh, I'm going to outfarm him by out flash farming him. That's just not going to happen.
Shadow Fiend's a really, really indicative hero of that entire kind of idea, in my opinion. And that's that he wants to get those, and it's because he needs the last hits, for one, for the mechanics, but for two, like, he's not necessarily like super aggressively trying to kill the other mid laner. He's trying to gain those other advantages. You know what I mean? And I feel like too often in the older meta, in retrospect, it was about killing or ganking or something like that with the Leshrac and the Storm. And so it has shifted from that, which was kind of like a single path type of mentality, to something where you have multiple ways where you can gain an advantage, and therefore it creates for more interesting games, more varied games. And I don't know, it's been a lot more interesting.
More fun Dota.
Yeah, more fun Dota.
I would argue that Shadow Fiend is the pioneer of the dual mid, because you saw dual mids with Shadow Fiend. Well, Tiny, I guess. Yeah, Tiny is. But I'm saying, like, in 684, 683, 682, you would still see an occasional like support help the Shadow Fiend get 4 or 5 souls.
Yeah.
And then move on.
And often, I mean, otherwise in previous metas you've seen like rotations, but if you saw an Earthshaker rotate over, it was to throw down a Fisher and then get out. Like you didn't want to be sapping that experience, because it mattered. It mattered more to have that advantage and hold on to it, because the rubber band was different. But
yeah, it's true, and the emphasis, like you guys were saying, was less on experience, or less on gold and more on experience. As your mid is like, I got to hit my level 6 as soon as I can. I got to go, at 6 minutes, I got to go gank. I mean, how many? I just remember when I started playing, it was, which granted was a couple of years ago. Whenever you would play mid, there was always someone, clamoring for a gank.
You didn't
like
gank at 4 minutes.
Yeah.
GG. No gank at 4 minutes. GG. And it's just like...
It's completely not the case anymore. Yeah. Even in my pubs, with people who half the time don't know what they're doing, much like myself, it's like people at least understand that concept that if the mid is winning, let them keep winning. You don't hear nearly as much of that, GG no gank from mid. And you hear a lot more GG mid lost, and now we lose. Easy mid.
Easy
that's
mid.
Always that's one of those eternal phrases. I don't think that one's going anywhere. But yeah, it is. It's cool. It's cool to see the way that entire position has kind of changed over the last couple patches. So, anyways, before we get all too tryhardy and philosophical and have a tryhard erectile dysfunction, let's talk about. Don't you look at me like that. It's all right. My wife heard that one. And she's like, what are you talking about? I was like, yeah, that's right. You don't know what I'm talking about. I've never had that problem. All right. Okay. All right, I'm going to stop. All right, so yeah, long story short, I think this is a nice segue, shall we say, transition to us talking about what we did as a show a couple months back. I think September 27th was the date of the show, and that was our actual introduction to 6.85, our predictions, what we thought the meta might be like, what we thought the hero picks were going to be like, what we thought our pubs were going to be like. So I think, guys, I think it might be interesting. Do you want to go back in time and take a look back at what we said?
I would absolutely love to, but before we go back in time, I want to give mega props to you, Mr. Blue. Lately, you have been on fire with good ideas and bringing a lot to Defense of the Patients. And as the co-host of the Monday show, the angry co-host who hates Fafnir, fuck Fafnir. I want to say, no, Fafnir, I love you to death, dude.
The company whipping boy.
This is a great idea, and I'm really glad that we're doing this. So,
yeah, it's something casual towards the end of the year. Blue's idea completely. I'm not gonna. I didn't have an idea because I've been finishing up school and stuff. So he's like, "How about this?" And I'm like, "Genius! You're gonna host it and stuff. Nice." So it's good to have this idea. Thanks a lot. Should we just jump into it, or what are your plans, Blue?
Well, I guess before we do that, I completely forgot. Summit 4, guys, if you haven't seen the finals for that, it went to it was a 5-game series. It was an epic series between EG and Virtus.pro, and just like we talked about, I think it really embodied the entire meta in that you had such variety of strategies, and you saw some very strong pushes and early game fighting. And a lot of negative armor strats. And I thought it was really interesting that even after all this time, we go back to, one of the key heroes that came out of that match was goddamn Visage. Like, how many times did you guys see Visage?
Like once in this meta?
Owie played it.
That's true.
That's true. He did play it. You're right. Mm-hmm. But he's
the exception.
Player number 2 is him and Lil Hardy,
names.
I think, from Lil from Virtus.pro. Those guys are like Visage picker. So it's pretty awesome to see that even in the 6.85 where we had like 10 or 15 really dominant heroes by the end of it, we still had guys who were so incredibly good at one hero that they actually forced bans and picks based on that. So I just thought it was really cool. If you haven't checked out Summit 4, check that out. All right, we're moving on. Let's get to our days of our when we were young and naive about 6.85, right?
Yep.
Yeah, this was the first time I had ever been a guest on a show, and you guys invited me to be on the show, and it was to talk about, because I had been climbing MMR, and yeah, like you said, it was on September 27th. Blue, you want to tell them what the first clip they're going to be hearing is?
Yeah, sure. So the first clip that we're talking about, and bear in mind, this is right when 6.85 came out, so these were just gut reactions, what we thought would happen, how we thought the meta might change. So Wazoo had a very nice thought about the meta. We're gonna keep it simple. We're gonna start broad, and let's just talk about the meta. What did he have to say?
I don't know. My predictions is it's gonna be a good balance between the last 2 patches and this one. It's gonna be somewhat push centric, but it's also going to have that team fight aspect that we saw in the last patch. Melee hero focused, but also I think that's just kind of a given because of how different heroes were nerfed and how different heroes were buff.
All right, and we're back. So that was Wazoo talking about what he thought the meta might be, and god damn it, for once I have to give the man credit.
I am Oracle, dude.
He fucking nailed it. Yeah, you should play some more Oracle, baby. You got the magic touch, because that was beautiful. I mean, he pretty much called it. It was a team fight centric meta. I mean, we saw heroes like Slardar. I mean, Tusk. How many freaking Tusk games did we see? How many Tusk games did I play? I thought that hero was garbage.
I remember
6 months
thinking
ago.
that too. I remember Cyphus playing him way before, even 6.84, and he being like, "That's a really cool hero. I'm gonna play him again." I'm like, "You fucking noob!
Yeah,
you don't know shit about this game. That hero sucks."
He did have that reputation though for the longest time. He's just it's a shit hero. Don't ever touch him.
Yeah. Like he didn't have good stats. He didn't have he was missing a lot. And then they changed where the snowball, you can pick people up in the snowball. I think they changed the way that the ice path worked. If you ice shards worked, if you wrapped them around people, it wouldn't just stop when it hits them. You actually click on a point, much like you would a fissure.
Yeah.
Say, I want to hit that.
Which is cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it was so cool, and it made it into such a unique and interesting way to. It basically became like all the really cool aspects of a fissure, all the initiating aspects of a blink type thing with the snowball, and you could snowball from miles away. And you still can, at least at this point, as of 6.85. So hopefully they haven't. Yeah, I'm assuming there's going to be some nerfs for this guy, but
there's got to be. but
right? He was like most picked, most banned.
Yeah, I mean, I think his snowball, I think it would be cool if it disjointed. I think that would be a fair thing to do to the snowball. When, like, you snowball on me and I blink away, snowball in. Sorry, it's disjointed.
What I think should
Your
happen...
snowball doesn't follow me around.
I agree with you there, but I think if you miss the person, you should, like, spin out, like, wipe out. And, like, be stunned for a couple seconds.
Yeah.
Like,
or
slip
like
on your own ice and, like, oh, shit.
Oh, shit. Yeah. A walrus punch. Yeah. I feel, maybe there be some penalty. The only hero we really see this with, though, is Alchemist, who has a penalty for missing. Unstable concoction.
I just feel like it's too good of a diving ability to not have some type of disadvantage for diving wrong.
I just want to talk about it making sense. When I blink away from you snowballing toward me, you now don't know where I am. Your snowball is not an animate object, okay? It's an inanimate object.
Using my super snowman abilities.
It's a goddamn homing missile, okay?
Yeah, it really is.
It is.
But yeah, I don't know. To me, I think the big thing is that the range on it is obscene because it goes at travels at a speed of 675. Mm-hmm. It goes for the cast range is 12,050 units. I think that means it's more than like you could be from farther than a screen away. You can come from out of the screen and completely snowball someone.
It is further. So to give you an idea of what 1,000 is, this is how I think of it: is Radiant tier 1 to tier 2, mid. That is 1,000 units.
Yeah, you can dive all the way from Radiant tier 1 all the way to the other goddamn tower. Like there is something up with that, right?
Yeah,
like that is
crazy.
That is crazy. I think I played a game with I think it might have been Barbecue where I was Tuscan, he was Slardar, and we just, I mean, it wasn't even fair. It felt wrong. I felt wrong about it, you know? Like I felt like I did not deserve that win. Like I would just get him in the snowball, he would, you know, do his little Slitherine crush, and then he'd you know, use his ulti, and then I'd walrus punch and they'd be dead, and that's it. It was over. Could not do a goddamn thing about it, and then we'd do it again 15 seconds later because the low cooldown on all those abilities. So
Blue, before you move on from Tusk, you have to share the best walrus punch I've ever seen, and I was casting this game. I hope you know what moment I'm talking about.
Yeah, all right. Here's another
share?
OP. Yeah, let's talk about another overpowered aspect of this hero, as if you needed more. So Walrus Punch is a great ability, as it turns out. So we found out the past few months. On top of being a stun, on top of being a slow, on top of being a crit, on top of being on a 12-second cooldown. As it turns out, Walrus Punch doesn't give a fuck about Lincoln Sphere. And I gotta tell you, having a little Silver Edge and having a little Walrus Punch action on a one Kai's Ember Spirit, I mean, it was bam zoom to the Mad Moon for him. It was over, baby, and he lost his goddamn mind because he had a Lincoln Sphere. He thought he was safe. He was shitting in his pants. He told me every time he entered the jungle and I Walrus punched him. Of course, I didn't have my goddamn team with me to help me out, but that's a whole nother issue.
Snowball us in, dog.
That's all right. Like you're right. If I had vision of him, I would have snowballed in from, you know, the other side of the map, and we'd be okay. But yeah, I walrus punched the shit out of him, and what would you know? Like a fucking fiery pinata, 2 divine rapiers dropped, and we nearly turned that game around. In fact, we did. We were so busy congratulating each other that we
I
lost
remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, that game was so epic. This was a .p in-house. Once again, Fafnir has been doing a good job with these on Thursday.
Yeah, shout out to Faf.
Shout out to Faf on the Thursday .p in-houses. If you want in on one, Reddit, whatever. You can get punched in the walrus punch from Mr. Blue and have you drop your 2 divine rapiers. So
that's right. So I think that kind of, I don't know. What do you think, Wazoo? Do you feel pretty good about that prediction? I want
to say something about Kairai real fast, and just watching him play makes me look back on my wasted youth, and that kid is he has more energy when he plays than I could ever have. Shout out to him for
He's
sure. He's
fucking good.
He farmed out 3 rapiers that game.
Yeah, and was one waiting.
Yeah, and with 1 waiting. But in terms of my predictions, to switch gears, I feel like I was right just from watching how the meta developed, because it was either a 5-man gather up strategy with drums where you just go and take like tier 1s and then like bully the team until you have a good lead, and then you can like have someone farm and still like have a 4-man gank squad or something.
That was our strat. That was like literally the .p Tryhard team.
You see that
strat.
a lot though, even in the pros. Or it was kind of that the dual lanes were huge, or you had the carry if they were safe enough solo while you had the dual lane mid, which is kind of like the more farm centric mid than the tri lane ever was in the old ones, or than it ever was in this patch. I mean, maybe not more so than it was in the other metas, but I feel like my predictions were pretty on from like, but they were also very general. It's like when you call one of those lines and they like read your tarot and they're like, you will find wealth and love. They're just like, oh my god, I will. You know, it's like it was a very general prediction.
There will be team fights.
Well,
yeah.
People will die.
Towers will be. Oh, what's coming through right now? Towers will be pushed, I believe.
Towers will be pushed. That's right. You did.
It was very general.
Towers were pushed.
I think it was good though, because you did say some general stuff that like I think we're going to see agi carries, and it's like, yeah, no shit,
straight
like
carries or melee carries
or melee carries,
did.
melee, and it's like, yeah, of course that's a generalized topic. Of course we're going to see melee carries in pretty much any meta. What you did say is that we're probably going to transition away from that really late gamey to that really like team fight centric, and that's where
watch
it was
the Summit games, because those
I know
were like
one went
30 to 40 minutes, and then there were still some late games, but like
Yeah.
for the majority of the average games, they weren't all that long.
And
They
that's why
weren't
that
very
clip
long.
was so right, in my opinion, is that you called the team fighty thing, that it did really, really go team fighty. So
Call my sex hotline / fortune hotline.
1-888-317
69 Wazoo.
4760.
This, all
I'm
right.
pretty confident.
Did you just give out my real number?
No, we have a Dota number, but
I'm moving on, but
Okay.
yeah, I think your prediction in that you basically were like, yeah, this is gonna be the Conan the Barbarian patch, and it pretty much was. It was just like blood spilt from minute 10 to 40. You know, like we're gonna nonstop punch people in the face. So that was cool, and it was very true. So, but moving on, we're gonna move on to the next prediction that we made on that show, and that was, I think we're going to go to the Wind Ranger clip where I said that Wind Ranger is going to be the big like pickup hero, the hero that everyone wants to pick and everyone wants to play, and let's check that clip out. I'm going to pick whoever looks cool. All right, Wind Ranger, you look like Legolas.
yeah.
I'm going to pick you, and then I just spammed her like for I don't know how many
She
matches.
stayed constant. Have you played her much in this new meta?
Yeah, I played her. It's been a while since I played a lot of her, but because I played her so much, I have like probably 150 matches played on her. But she is still really, really, really good. She was already good to begin, and she's just gotten better with the removal of a lot of heroes that can compete with her in lane. So like Lena, for example, could actually trade really well with her. And at level 6, you had to be really careful, because if you ever got hit by the Light Strike Array, it's an easy first blood, so now that she was nerfed, and then with a couple other nerfs to some other heroes, I think she's now one of the best mids to snowball with. And we're back. So yeah, that was one ginger talking about another in Wind Ranger. And
one of these things is not like the other, though. I might also add.
Hey now, could have been my sister in a former life, right? Only I chose not to get the nose piercing. So.
Oh yeah, she does have her nose pierced.
Right? Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
That's like, I don't know. I don't know why, but that always like threw me off.
We're all young ones,
Yeah, that's right. She's just living it up in the forest, going crazy. Anyway, so speaking of living it up, I think she was living it up in this patch for a time at least. She was a really, really popular pick, I would say, up until maybe the last few weeks, where she's kind of fallen off. Because her win rate really wasn't that great in the pro scene, but we're just talking about the pro scene in that sense. But in terms of pubs, I mean, she maintained a 50% win rate, which again, I didn't say she would be a really high win rate hero. I just said she'd be picked a lot, which turned out to be true, because she beat out Pudge of all heroes in terms of popularity this patch, which is astounding, because I don't think in the history of Dota 2
that's happened.
That's happened, right?
No, he's been a high popularity hero all the way since the beta in Dota 2.
Yeah,
so
it's always been
the highest, I think.
Pudge, Invoker. Yeah, those guys have always been supremely popular. So To see her kind of show up was really cool because she was my original hero. Like, she was the first one that I really, really got into because I enjoyed all her skill shots. And I remember hearing Roland talking about Wind Ranger and how cool she is and all the skill shots. And I was like, oh my god, dude, he's following the Mr. Blue footsteps.
Unintentionally.
First it was Storm, then it's Wind Ranger,
and now it's Earthshaker.
What's he playing now?
Earthshaker.
Oh, it's Earthshaker. Look at this.
It is weird, the heroes.
Isn't that
but
weird?
I feel like Power Shot and Fissure are very similar in the way that they work. I feel like that Shackle and is a skill shotty thing, and I also feel like Earthshaker's W, I forget the name of it, his ground pound thing, is also very skill shot because it's just such a low AoE.
Oh, totally.
So I really do enjoy those heroes, and Storm Spirit is just it's really fun to just zip around and kill people, and
oh yeah,
but he got shot in the head. We don't talk about that anymore.
No doubt about it. That's very true. Yeah, we don't talk about Storm anymore. He's like that imaginary friend that we had when we were little, and it's just like you're kind of embarrassed to talk about him now because it feels so dumb, and he looks so stupid, and he got bopped on the head so hard, and so much trauma. But so Wind Ranger, right? Pretty popular pick. Did you guys have anything to add about Wind Ranger? Did you try her out at all?
Yeah, I played her a little bit. Shackle, it's one of those things where you're just like easy, and then you play it, and it's not easy. Like you miss way more than you think you will. She's a very high skill ceiling hero, and I think that's why you saw her picked a lot, but not for the reasons you might think in the pro level. Like you look at people like Weehaw that can have like crazy success with him, but that's because the guy has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, maybe even thousands of games on the one hero.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people don't have that many games, so she's better to just ban or not pick themselves because you can't hit that same level of skill. And so that's what I saw with her in the meta that I never would have guessed, that she is really one of the highest skill heroes in the game in a lot of ways, with her ability to push and not being out of position, also the ability to wind run at the right times, to shackle, and also to power shot. She's pretty much a walking skill hero, but she's a skill shot all around.
A lot like Bobby Fischer when he made America love chess.
Just like him.
And everybody all of a sudden started playing chess. Weehaw did that for me in Wind Ranger.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I'm just going to clubs and I'm just playing Wind Ranger at clubs and just getting better at Wind Ranger, but we're all really watching Bobby Fischer.
He just Weehaw just lays in his room at night playing over moves, and he's like, if I skill shot mid lane there, it will hit off.
Mid to K7.
Hopefully he doesn't go crazy, because Bobby went a little over the deep end.
Good lord, guys! As a not 50-year-old man who likes chess,
you want to talk Kasparov?
Yeah, that analogy really resonated with me. I'm sure Kyra could absolutely relate to that one.
Hey, there's a little bit of something for everybody.
That's right. So yeah, I don't know. I think she was obscenely good against those really annoying heroes to kind of catch out. You get a Blink Dagger and an Aghanims, and you can solo kill anyone in the game if you're at a decent time with them. So those guys like Ember Spirit or Anti-Mage, those really Queen of Pain, those really elusive mobile heroes, if you just catch them out with a shackle shot and a power shot and your focus fire, I mean that's a dead hero 9 times out of 10. So I think that was one of the really cool things was how satisfying everyone learned to appreciate the shackle shot, in this patch, it seemed. Mm-hmm. So that was really cool because she was always one of my favorite heroes that I would just pick because it felt like she could fit in anywhere. And maybe not as much now, but she's still one of those heroes that's just fun no matter what position you play her as. So anyways, speaking of fun heroes, speaking of heroes that are played mid, it feels like it's the mid podcast today, but Invoker. All right, let's talk a little Invoker, because Roland had some thoughts on Invoker, and let's take a listen.
I hope to see a resurgence of Invoker. I really do,
and I think you will.
I don't know. A lot of I've read a lot of people talking about it, tweets and whatnot, and gathered information off our Dota. But the 4-int gain people say is pretty nice.
Yep.
And the change to what is
Alacrity.
Alacrity. Is cool, but some are claiming it's not enough. Some are claiming it's too soon. Some are claiming it is enough. I think I'm in the too soon category for sure.
Too soon to tell.
Too soon to tell.
Data.
Yeah, jury's out.
Yeah, I Invoker is that one hero that's just like I know I would have to put like 100+ to even be anywhere close to competent with, which makes me like love the hero right there, because he has so much. It's a game within a game, you know what I mean? How cool is that? So I really hope he gets really popular and forces me to like.
He was the first hero I ever picked in Dota, and I was just like, "What the fuck is this shit? Do I have to have like I have to have like an F-16 fighter pilot manual for like every single hero I play?"
Yeah.
And we're back. So Invoker, eh? I think the jury still might be out on him. I think this is one of those predictions that I think is kind of right, because he's been picked a lot more and his win rate has gone up a lot, but we don't see him a lot in pro matches. We've seen him a little bit more, like the you know, a little bit more of the Wexort Invoker, you know, where you get at least a value point in Exort, so you can get the Alacrity. But I don't know. What do you guys think about Invoker in this patch?
I think he's excellent. I think Control Invoker is the way to go. I'm never going to do Quas Exort again when I play Invoker, because Quas Wex is just a lot more fun in my opinion. And you don't have to rely on like, I don't know. I feel like Sunstrike is like, for me personally, is like 90% luck and 10% skill. Which, you know, is kind of like the building blocks of your 4041 Invoker or your Quas Exort Invoker. So I really love the hero, but I still think, I don't know, something's got to change to see him a lot more, right? Like, I don't know what has to change.
He's in an interesting place just because he is in that mid slot, and he also, like you said, he's control, so he's a lot of utility, but at the same time he can fight. So he's like in the middle of a lot of different areas, which kind of keeps him from, I don't know, being that dominating presence, which are the types of mids that dominated the meta.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a hero that's so weird because he's like more than I think almost any other hero in the game. He is so level dependent, and it's not necessarily about hitting a specific timing. I mean, yes, you want to get 4 points in 2 out of your 3 abilities, and then that ability becomes infinitely more effective. I mean, an example is that's why you do the 4041 is you get 4 points in each, then you get double Forge Spirits, and your Cold Snap hits hard. But with him, it's like you need to get a Midas, but you're not getting a Midas for the gold. You're really just getting it for the experience. And, you know, he needs to get ahead very fast, very quickly, because his abilities don't only scale as well as the timings of the enemy carry's BKBs, right? If your enemy carry has a BKB and you're Invoker, the first time he gets that BKB, you just get train rolled. You know, you just get stomped. It's not something you can fight into, really.
He's not a sure bet because there's these outside mitigating factors that can make it difficult.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. He can farm pretty well, but he doesn't flash farm like a Shadow Fiend or even a Quap or a Storm.
Or Wind Ranger even.
Or a Wind Ranger, yeah.
And just kind of like Phantom Assassin, he has an item that is fucking kryptonite. And this item is almost even more common than an MKB, and that's a BKB.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, now Invoker is pure right click. I hope you have Alacrity. I hope you have a point in Exort, because that's the only thing that's going to do anything right now. So that sucks.
He's one of those heroes that it's just like there's a couple things working against him, and they're kind of colliding into each other to form a barrier that keeps him away from being like a really, 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 really good mid. And that's that he's not great in lane in most of the lanes that he goes up against. He's not going to win a lane necessarily, because he's got a very low base move speed. His spells at early levels are pretty terrible. At level 1, he can't do anything.
No.
So, he's got that going against him, and then he's also really dependent on experience. So you get those two things. You really need to babysit him, but you can't take away from his experience. It's just kind of like there's just a multitude of factors that collide. But even then, the buffs that they gave him, I mean, he went from being a 44% win rate to, I just checked now, he's the 5th most popular hero, which really hasn't changed too much.
Yeah.
And he's got a 48% win rate. So, I mean, he's gotten better.
I'd like to see that at 50. What do you think about this, Blue? What if Chaos Meteor and Deafening Blast were spell immune? Do you think that would...
went through spell immune?
Went through went through BKB, basically.
Oh, man, that would be too good. Then everyone would go for the spellcast or the
I mean, would that level him out? Is that too much? What about just Deafening Blast?
That would be too much.
It would be too much. He's at 48%, which statistically... I mean, you look at that from a mathematical point of view, that's pretty good. I mean, you're within 2% margin of error there if you think about it that way. You want to have him 50-50. But
and you look at win rates across the different MMRs. I mean, he's at 50. He's right at 50% at 4 to 5K and 5K and up. It's just like you've always harped on, sub 2K Invoker players have a 4% win rate.
They're in purgatory, is what they are. The 2K Invoker, they're in denial and also in purgatory. Like,
sorry, you're holding them down.
Yep.
But you look at Invoker, he's one of those heroes, like, I kind of equate him to, in a weird way, like an anti-mage, that if you pick him at the wrong time right out of the gate, then you've already fucked up. He's someone that you need to pick at the right time. He's not an every-time pick. He's definitely a niche pick, and that's in... the games are kind of few and far between. He's not an every-time pick.
Well, you don't want to pick him into lifestealing.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much like...
There's a lot you jug in a way. I mean, I don't know. There's lots of things.
Here's a sexy transition. You know who you wouldn't want to pick him into? Doom. That's who. Boom, right there. Speaking of which, I think Doom is back to being a legit offlane. I really like him.
Maybe. I haven't seen much of him. I'll say that much. But
his Scorched Earth he's been picked a lot more.
Has he?
And his win rate has gone up huge. Oh, yeah.
I know Necrophos went up, too.
Let's see, because I have the trends up right in front of me. And I wanted to talk about some of these heroes. Yeah, he went from a 45% win rate to 51.
Wow, good.
And he's been picked in a lot more matches. He went from 4.5% to 6, which is pretty significant.
He's a very cool hero, just dynamically. He adds a lot of... I don't know. He adds a lot of different play for a melee hero into the game in the offlane. I like what he adds.
He's got a lot of cool stuff.
He's just neutral. Like, what I love about Doom is, like, no matter what hero it is, you don't want to be doomed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what's cool about his ult. Like, it doesn't even fucking matter what hero you are. If you're doomed, that sucks. Like, now you're not nearly as effective as you were.
Fighting 4v5.
Yeah, so, like, that's why I love Doom. He just deletes a hero for a portion of time.
So yeah, Doom, right? Am I right, guys? I mean, what more can you say?
No, you were fucking right. And I was like, I'm not seeing much of him. And I was like, I don't know why I wasn't, because this is 685 had already came out when we were talking about this, and apparently people hadn't figured out that like Doom was incredible or something, because like right after that episode is when Doom started popping up everywhere. So yeah, you're absolutely right.
He is Sauron. Like, I'm 100% certain. Just, I played a lot of games as him because he's one of those heroes that can kind of go a lot of places. You know, he can go into the jungle, he can go safe lane, he can go off lane. So he was someone for me that I was able to work into any team comp that kind of came up, and I played a lot of games as him. I really enjoy it. He's, I kind of go back on what I say about him being like a super well-designed hero because he's so fucking annoying to play against, but he's, I like what he adds to the game. I mean, he is first pick material sometimes, but he really wasn't in this last tournament, but he has been previously in the meta. But I think people kind of... They figured him out in a way. They figured out what works best against him, and they figured out that, I don't know, he wasn't quite the powerhouse that we always thought.
Yeah, or that little nerf that they added with the change from... I'm going to add a little stats here, because, you know, that's what I do. So in 6.84C, which was... the patch just before 6.85 came out, he had a 45% win rate and not a big pick rate. It wasn't significant. And then with 6.85, he moved up to 52% win rate, which is a huge jump for any hero to go up 7% in the win rate column. And then when they did that little nerf to him, where they nerfed the regen on Scorched Earth, it got nerfed actually pretty significantly, and then the Aghanim Scepter nerf, where it no longer increases the Doom damage. Mm-hmm. And they rescaled the Scorched Earth so it would do like 3 less damage and healing per second, and also the cooldown would be increased.
Yeah, all that was a bit too much, the Ags and the Scorched Earth and everything. It was just like, I'm doing nothing and you are getting wrecked right now. And
Scorched Earth is still an
wicked
incredible ability at level 1 and level 2, and that really is why he's so good in this meta, because you can put so much pressure on the carry just by walking at him. just by walking at that carry.
You could be at like in the
bully.
worst neighborhood in all of Dota land, and like
Yeah.
someone like looks out the window and like jumps you and stabs you to death like 8 times, and you could just walk out.
You just eat their dog, dude.
Yeah.
You eat their dog. you turn on Scorched
And then
Earth.
you just walk out like a white guy with a stick in his ass, like
Yeah.
I saw this match at the Summit on Sunday where it was someone had picked a Doom and the other team had like a Dazzle and the other support player, I can't remember who it was, but they weren't gonna kill him, but they were hiding around the edges of the Radiant large camp.
Yes.
So there's at the
safe
very
large
at
camp?
the bottom. The safe lane Radiant large camp. So at the very bottom right, there's the small camp. Above that is the medium, and to the left of it is the large camp.
Yep.
At the large camp, the Doom was getting ready to devour a creeper, trying to hide himself and then devour a creep. And on the other side of the bushes, where they couldn't see each other, there were 2 of the supports waiting to try and catch him while he devours. So it was like 2 little children like playing hide and go seek, like hanging around the bush. And it just goes to show you how they were so afraid because they couldn't just charge him immediately, right? They wanted to sneak up on him because if he saw them coming, all he had to do was just run away or use Scorched Earth, and he'd be fine. So it just goes to show you how strong he is at levels 1 and 2 still. So it was pretty interesting to see.
And he's on the picture for 686, so who knows what's going to happen. People are theorizing a buff, and I'm like, and Cyphus was like, well, it'd be lame if they put his picture up there and nerfed him.
Well,
And
they
it was
did
like-
that. They kind of did that with some of the other. Well, no, they're mostly reworks.
Maybe it's
they're
a rework.
reworking.
Yeah, maybe it's a
'Cause
rework.
if you remember the old one for like 6.84, I think, with the PL reworks, they had the exact same.
That was like
It did.
682.
682.
And Bloodseeker,
Yeah, that's right. So they had them all up there after they had reworked them, and they had Roshan up there too, because that was the Rosh change.
Oh yeah.
So
the map
maybe-
change for Roche.
maybe they'll add like you'll have Scorched Earth,
Level death needs to be
but
changed.
Scorched Earth, when you step into it, it dooms you, and then when you doom someone, it casts Scorched Earth at the same time.
I bet we see a rework with level
Holy
death being
shit.
changed and Scorched Earth possibly being changed.
I think my mind has been scorched.
Yeah, I have to do division? No fucking way.
Dude, all right, I told you this. Division and simple do not belong in the same sentence, okay?
Yeah, and for anybody out there who doesn't know what level death does, which is probably most of you, apparently I was like, it's based on your max health, you dumbass, and then he's like, no, it's not.
It's random.
He's like, it's
based upon your level.
No, it's based upon their level
Oh.
and the divisibility of the multiplier. It's fucking
Interesting.
crazy, dude.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's out there.
I just
for sure.
saw it as like a stunny
Yeah,
thingy.
I just use it and it works
Stun.
sometimes and it doesn't. You know.
That's right. That's exactly how I felt. I was like, it's one of those abilities, you just kind of chuck it out there, and hopefully it sticks,
Yeah, exactly.
And that's about it. So, but yeah, that is Doom in a nutshell. He was pretty damn popular this patch. Who knows what we're going to see with him in 686. But let's talk about another hero that we definitely saw a lot of in pros, and I think we saw a hell of a lot more of in our pubs. Maybe more than we wanted to see.
Huskar, because he got another Aghanims. Or he got a new Aghanims. I see a lot of.
Huskar did?
Yeah, it puts him at 50% health when he jumps on you. And puts the
feel like
enemy at
that's-
50% health. Puts him at 50% health and the enemy at 50% health, which he attacks faster per lower health, the lower health he has. So
Yeah,
it's-
but I don't think that's a new upgrade on Huskar. So, Roland, I don't think that's a new upgrade on Huskar.
I listened to that today and cringed. I was like, oh my god, and like the confidence in my voice was like, this is exactly, do you want to hear how his Ags works? Because it came out yesterday. It's weird. They didn't even release it in a patch. It just came out. All of a sudden it was able to be bought. And it's absolutely wrong. The information that I gave, it doesn't take them down to 50%. It takes them down 65% of whatever their health is. Anyway, I got on this little kick where Denny and I won a game, and I was playing Huskar, and we just wrecked. And I got Naganims for some reason. I was like, dude, that is the item. It had to have just come out because it's so badass. And
Why isn't everyone building
yeah,
this?
exactly. And of course, I mean, there's a slot. Huskar's starved for slots, and there's a number of reasons why it's not super popular, the Aghanims, but.
That's all right. You were. This was a case of right airplane, wrong airport. In that
Yeah.
You were wrong about the reasons, but you were also right that he would be a hell of a lot more popular.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Huskar, we didn't see a lot of Huskar until this patch, really, in terms of the pro meta.
Mm-hmm.
And also,
Mineski was a big team for that.
Mineski, yeah, true. There are some filthy Huskar pickers that have always been that way.
Yeah.
But we have seen the hero rise in popularity by a pretty large margin. I think it's gone up, I think 2 or 3% since 6.84. The win rate hasn't gone up, which surprised me because people keep bitching about him. But at the same time, he's another one of those heroes that the higher you go in skill, the higher that hero's win rate goes. So that's something for people to be aware of. Is that Huskar is one of those heroes that's really hard to play, and you got to be a filthy Huskar picker to get good at it. So please just keep away. All right, you don't want anything to do with this hero. All right.
You know what's filthier are the people that are like, you're a filthy Huskar picker, I'll be a filthy Dazzle picker.
Oh,
That's what's even filthier.
Oh, and you're in cohorts together.
Yeah, and you're working purely to make sure that
we
Huskar...
had a game like that last night, me and Blue.
Where it's,
oh God, yes.
and
every time I got the kill as Rubik, and you're like,
oh no, he'd burn me out, dude. Like I'd be like beating on his ass with my gyro, pew pew pew, and then like as I'm getting the last hit on him, shallow grave, dude, and then I just burned to death.
yeah,
it's
I know.
terrible.
and I'm like slapping him with like paper mache, and all of a sudden he crumbles, and I'm like, hey, I almost got a blink dagger, and you're like, I have brown boots.
I have like a Kuya and like a TP, and that's it.
Yeah. I'm sitting on arcane boots, urn, and almost a blink dagger. I'm like, I'm rich. This is great.
He's usually worth a lot of gold because he goes on streaks, and then you kill him. Then he goes on streaks, and then you kill him. So.
Oh, totally. He is a complete snowball hero. So, props to Roland for picking Huskar.
I don't feel like I deserve any props. I'm
gonna give you these goddamn props. I'm gonna shove them down.
I'm gonna give them back to you because I just like built Aghanims that day on Huskar and was like, he's gonna be big. this Aghanims just came out, and this Aghanims is gonna be big.
That was the other hilarious point. It was like the reason the Huskar's gonna pick is because Aghanims, which again wasn't new, but still.
I think it's really old.
Yeah, you and Cyphus play Huskar with Aghanims all the time, and I've never seen anyone like rush Aghanims or Aghanims at all on Huskar
because it lowers the cooldown.
High level players, I like have completely ignored that item.
It's a pretty low cooldown already, though.
It goes from like 8 seconds to 3 seconds, but the great thing is roshing.
Yeah.
When it takes 65% of Roche's current health, I just jump on him like 4 times, and he's dead.
Wow. Does it work on Roche?
Yes, it works on Roche. You still need to pop Lincolns, but you can do that easy.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, that's interesting.
I guess
that's one benefit.
I can take Roche down within like 4 or 5 jumps, and then like 5 right clicks, 6 right clicks, and Roche is dead.
I feel like there's so many other items that he could make better use of.
And
like
there are.
Assault Cuirass has like a 75% win rate on this hero. Heaven's Halberd, which is cheaper than an Ags, has a 72% win rate.
I look at that item for like if I'm up against like an Ursa or something, it's like, okay, gotta get Heaven's Halberd, or like I don't know.
The evasion, man. Built-in evasion is so good.
The evasion. I've always wondered why crit hasn't been a thing on him, because he's attacking so quickly. It's like, why don't we have some sort of critical on him? Like Wind Ranger, for instance, like everybody loves to get that Chrysalis because she's attacking so fucking quick. Like same idea with Huskar, right? So sometimes I'll even get like a Daedalus on Huskar because it's really fun.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. It's another weird item that you don't see a lot of. Chrysalis has a pretty low win rate. I'm just checking the stats on now because it's such a weird, like, intriguing hero. You see a lot of like guys get Solar Crest on him. I mean, just to put it in perspective, Assault Cuirass has the highest win rate among all the items, aside from obvious shit like Aegis or Divine Rapier. But you have Assault Cuirass, Solar Crest, Helm of the Dominator, and like BKB are like the top items that most guys get on him.
Makes sense.
Anyways, yeah. So another really interesting pick, and one that turned out to be totally true, but maybe for different reasons. That's okay. It's .p. All right. Sometimes even when we're wrong, we're right.
Yeah, Undying is also not going anywhere because that Aghanims is way too good.
So yeah, I mean, not much to say about this one in the fact that Roland was right. So that is noteworthy. Am I right, guys?
Boom!
Hey,
Yeah, it is noteworthy.
Huskar burned.
It is, because if you listen to like 2 clips before that, it's just like No, and I couldn't believe the confidence in my voice, like I said, but the confidence was there at this Undying too. So,
And you got it.
I mean,
got it.
but that's
rework.
It makes sense, right? Like, you go from stealing 4 strength to 10 strength. Like, yeah, you're gonna get that. That's 250% more effective on a skill that you use all the fucking time on Undying. So, I don't know.
You cannot argue with that one. I mean, Undying is a hero we've seen both in pubs and meta and pro play as a really high win rate hero, a lane dominator. Not too much changed with him in terms of his effectiveness. So his win rate didn't really change. I think it just went down 2%, which to me, and that's a pub win rate. To me, that just is more a testament to how fucking annoying the Tombstone was at early levels back in 6.84. But when they made that change to Tombstone, where it became about the number of attacks to destroy, it went from an ability that was really, really not overpowered, but obscenely good early game and would fall off really hard, to one of those abilities that if you position it the right way can completely change a team fight even at like the 35-minute mark. Which to me is really cool, because that was one of the problems that hero really had, was that he just didn't have a timing window after the 20-minute mark where he would be relevant. So Ags and the new Tombstone, I don't know. To me, they really changed it. Have you guys played any Undying?
I feel like he's really like a great counterpoint to that melee-centric meta. You know, he's that hero that can kind of get in the face of those heroes and, you know, throw something up so you have tons of targets now and it's just a clusterfuck. And he was that before, but now he carries longer into the game. He has better abilities. He's... I feel like he's the true vision of the hero, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah, and to Blue, yes, I have been playing a ton of Undying. Undying offlane. Hopefully solo offlane, because getting levels on him is awesome. I play... The people on stream don't like that I do like a 4-0-4, and then I do a 4-1-4-2, I guess, at level 11, where at level 10 I get ult and level 11 I get ult on Undying. Just because I think Decay and Tombstone are just so important. Mm-hmm. I don't even get Soul Rip or Ultimate until, you know, level 9, 10, and 11. So, yeah, I love the hero. I rush Ags on him. I make sure I get Ags. I hope to get Greaves and Ags every single game. And Soul Rip my Tombstone. And he's a really, really fun hero to play. He grows in size as well with Decay, which is awesome. Because watching my Undying get bigger and bigger and bigger just makes me feel better and better.
Is this a metaphor for something?
Yeah.
He's very
he gets
phallic.
off to other people's misery is really what he's saying.
Oh, man. Yeah, so, no, the hero, he's a really fun hero. Blue, I remember the ultra kill you got in 82L as Undying, and it was, I think... it was against Reverb Gaming. We won that game. It was awesome, and it was definitely attributed to your... Undying. I believe that might even have been 6.84 Undying as well.
Hilarious. I have no fucking idea what I'm doing with Undying, to be honest.
You got an ultra kill with him, dude. It was sweet.
Hey,
you know.
Insert phrase about dumb guy getting lucky here, because I got nothing. Yeah, that was. When you're talking about criticizing item choices. I mean, you know how I feel about your item choices a lot of the time,
Skydiving.
Mr. Brown Boots Scotty.
Yeah.
But
Scotty Brown Boots. I got Brown Boots. I got it was Scotty Treads is what it was. It was Point Booster Brown Boots Ultimate Orb.
But dude, I can just waveform from creep wave to creep wave. Fine.
We won that game, but it was 80 minutes long and Blue was the only one there to see it. It was
and
great.
I was like, oh no, because my whole thought is this was like a kid who like decided to only eat pizza for a week, and like all of a sudden he like had a growth spurt at the same time, and he like attributed one to the other, you know? And you're like, oh no, this is not what he should be learning right now.
He's learning the wrong things. Yeah,
he's learning it wrong.
Oh, it happens all the time.
Correlation, causation.
Yeah, where it's like, I'm just go 80 minutes Morphling Scotty every time. It's like, no, that was definitely an exception, and I gave the Enigma a bunch of credit and commended him, because it was all an Enigma that won us that game. But
oh god, anyway. Yeah, that was fun to watch. So if you guys want to watch more crazy builds from Roland or or Ursi quietly raging in his pubs, because I saw some of that on Monday. Monday, and if you want to check that out, that's Twitch TV /.ptv, if I'm correct, isn't that the URL? All right, so plug there. Smooth transition from plug to last clip. So we talked a lot about things we got right, and some things we didn't get as right. I'd be remiss if I did not remind everyone about my comments on Elder Titan. And then the other one, if I have to go with like an in-meta one, is Elder Titan.
Oh, yeah.
I really think this is a good offlaner now. I think that they have buffed him a pretty decent amount. I think that the fact that his natural order is obscenely good against a lot of these, a lot of the agi carries that we may be seeing. Agi melee carries, and the fact that we're going to have a lot more melee carries means that the Echo Stomp is going to be better, his ultimate's going to be better. I mean, I feel like this hero was totally underpicked before, and I think he absolutely can be used again. So yeah, boy, what can you say here?
They just don't realize you're genius.
That's right.
Just
They
have to
haven't
be
figured it
realized.
out, guys. Why don't you listen to
And
me?
you know who did realize your genius? Like Puppy and stuff. So the true genius is new. Yeah.
Kuroki on Team Liquid playing some Elder Titan, albeit support role, but that's all right. It still counts. So just to put it into perspective, Elder Titan was the 107th most played hero in 6.84, and Elder Titan is the 107th most played hero in 6.85. So, I don't have much to say about that. But,
there are 3 heroes that aren't picked nearly as much as him.
And at least he didn't go down,
That's right. It all works out even Stevens, all right? Doom, back to Doom talk, How about that Doom pick, eh?
Yeah, serious.
Oh, God, that one hurt. That one hurt. Albeit, guys, he is still at a near 53% win rate. And he can be laned
Elder
in
Titan?
ways. Elder Titan, man.
Has a 53. It's because like the 4 people that play him win pretty often.
Dude, 2 to 3K is the highest win rate. 56%. Right there, baby. There's
You're dropping down some knowledge, dude.
There's
That's
your next pub
interesting.
stomper right there.
Wow.
Sub 2K. He
literally a stomper too. He literally
is
stomps.
literally a stomp. So before I go on a crazy Roland diatribe, I just want to throw this one
Roland
out
diatribe,
there.
yes.
All right. Before I go on a Roland rant, I just want to get this one out there. The
Roland's
reason
corner.
I like this hero is 2 things: Ancestral Spirit spam. All right. That's an ability that you can spam out safely. Get some last hits. Come back. You have you hit a little harder. You move a little faster. Those are all good things for the offlane. Okay. All right. I'm not crazy. Natural Order, another great ability, but it scales incredibly well. And I'll give you an example. Myself, Fafnir, 3 other people I don't remember. Doesn't matter. We were all in a pub game. It was Spectre carry on our team, myself as Elder Titan, and fuck everyone else because they were irrelevant, because they weren't us. And so we were playing this game, right? We're getting stomped hard. I'm feeding off lane. I am just dying over and over and over again. I think I died 4 times in the first 10, 12 minutes. I try to make things happen on the map. They don't work out. I try to land some Echo Stomps. They don't do shit against their team. We get face rolled over and over and over and over again. What do? We turtle up and we go full Fafnir. We go farm mode. We back off. We play for the late game. We let him get some items going. I think we even fell down 2 racks. And we're like, guys, we still got this. We play the Fafnir way and we will come out alive. All right? We played the Fafnir way. We came out alive. And you know what we did? We fucked their agi carries hard in the butt. Right in the butt. All right? And I'll tell you how. Spectre has a nice little ability called Dispersion. Elder Titan has a nice little ability called Natural Order. And when those 2 sync up, the enemy agi carries who stupidly did not get any armor items have 0 armor and are hitting a Spectre and reflecting all that damage back at them with a 0 base armor. Okay? And on top of that, you have a Spectre with Radiance. Guess what? Natural Order also lowers magic resist. I think it does, right? Base
increases
resist
magic resist?
It decreases.
Oh,
it.
decreases magic resist.
Base resist reduction.
Gotcha.
So down 33% at level 4.
Whoa.
So literally all I did was throw my Ancestral Spirit, followed the Spectre, watched Fafnir slay some bitches. And we came back in that game. I think it was like an 88-minute game or something obscene. And I called it a night. I was out. Right? It was over. It was all over. And they were so confused. I think the enemy team wasn't even mad. They were just confused. They're like, how does this... Why? Why were we melting? And I'll tell you why. It's fucking Elder Titan. That's why.
There you go.
Okay. All right. Well, that was a long justification.
Back in my day, Elder Titan was starting to be something better than he is today.
That Spectre Elder Titan does sound cool though. Natural Order and Dispersion.
Yeah, it's an interesting combo.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome, guys. I highly encourage people to check it out. Just try it in a normal match because it's one of those things that might fall completely flat on its face, but if it works, you're gonna feel like a goddamn genius, like a mad scientist, you know?
Well, it looks like we've gone over all of our clips, right?
Yeah, I think that covers everything. Just briefly, let's touch on 6.85 omissions, stuff we didn't talk about at all, right? Like do you want to bring up
the September 27th show?
Yeah.
I mean, Alchemist, of course. I don't know why he wasn't talked about because it was like we all read the 5 times. Like it went from 4 times to 5 times.
We're just tired of him, I think.
Just wait. If you order now, you can get 5 times the bounty rune. It's like, and then of course, like that was just enough to make him what is he? The 12th?
Get a free Octarine core.
Yeah. And then that silly build came out that took over. I mean, in every MMR rank, which was the
he was very
style.
indicative of this meta though, so we can't really leave him out.
Yeah, so you can't leave him out. Blue, you looking at it?
Yeah. Who else do we got? I mean, Shadow Fiend we talked a lot about. That was a hero we didn't even touch on. Let's see. Ember Spirit. We said goodbye to Bloodseeker, which was thank God for that.
Yeah.
Bloodseeker.
He was filthy. Cyphus filthily picked him up way too many times.
Gross.
That fucking Bloodseeker. Oh, he loved it.
Probably has hepatitis.
He
now.
probably does. Like he needs to get checked for sure.
I bet he loved it, Cyphus. Filthy animal. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything in terms of 6.85, in terms of our predictions and how maybe some of them fell flat and some of them reigned supreme even when we didn't realize what we were saying. So which really is like 90% of the time is we don't really know what we're saying, but we're going to try and emulate the pros because they do know what they're saying.
Yes.
That's right.
And I feel like that's the spirit of Tryhard Dota.
And that's how the meta kind of bleeds in. The best is that mimicry in a sense, but Ember Spirit, big one we didn't mention, of course, with E.
Eternal Ember.
Yeah. Eternal Ember Spirit.
Yeah. I mean, it was just another, like we could use the same Bobby Fischer analogy,
That guy
just
is Bobby Fischer.
A really good Ember Spirit.
He's really good at the game.
That just kind of took over, and then people were like, I can do that. That looks easy. And it's like, no, it's actually really not that easy.
So, on this note, it's not easy because I looked into Arteezy's stream when he was spamming Ember, and he had Ember's voice lines playing on repeat on his stream while he was trying to learn Ember, just getting his shit kicked over and over again.
Oh my God.
Really?
Yeah. Just the voice lines playing for hours, dude.
He punishes himself.
Yeah, he really does. It was
those
so
guys
funny, though.
No wonder those guys are terrible during
I watched
interviews.
it for like an hour.
They haven't had any human interaction. They've only interacted with voiceovers.
I know,
Holy
poor
shit.
Slacks. He was trying so hard to get them to talk, but that's a discussion for another time. I'm sure.
Yeah.
It'll
That's
get hit
right.
on.
And probably not this show, but your guys's.
He was a tryhard in those interviews, dude.
Yeah.
He was trying so hard to get them to talk, and
True.
and Sumail just kept burying himself further and further into his hoodie, dude. Just further and further his head.
That
went in.
neck donut he has.
Yeah, he's like,
Neck donut.
yeah, it's the airplane pillow.
Some call it a travel pillow. Others may call it the neck donut.
It's like more of a croissant, really.
Yeah, I guess it is.
But
All right, this show's going off the rails.
yeah.
All right,
Anyone
let's get
have
back
anything
on
else
track.
to add?
I think goodbye 6.85. You've been so good to us. We look forward to seeing you 6.86
Yep.
It's still not here.
We
still
will
just
probably
have a
see it.
picture.
I imagine by the next time our show next week comes out, we'll have way more information.
It definitely will be there. Patch notes will be there.
But I'm going to close out the show for us. Blue, or actually we'll go with our guest this time. Roland, tell us where people can find you.
You can find me at @p_Roland. Of course, at @p_show is a great way to communicate with all of us, which is what I would suggest doing. And lately I've been playing a lot of shit tier Dota and flaming the people who come into my Twitch stream. If you want to do that, it's /.ptv1 or .btv, excuse me. No.
Get in line, Fapier's in the front.
Yeah, Fapier's in front. I've got a few more people.
He's a glutton for punishment.
Wilfie, you're going to get some shit here pretty soon. You better watch out.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Roxy, if you talk one more fucking time in my Twitch chat, okay? Jesus, that's where you can find me.
Call it the Welcome to the Flame Zone or something.
Welcome to the Flame Zone.
You're like the dad that wants to be abusive, but he just doesn't quite have it in him. You're just like you're like an accountant by day, and like you try to come home and have an iron fist, it just doesn't work. Okay, well, Blue, what about you? Where can people find you and all your good ideas?
Let's see, you can find all my ideas, good and bad, Elder Titan and/or Doomesk, at MrBlue22 on Twitter. You can find. You can find the YouTube channel at youtube.com/.btv1, where we will continue to have some great Theorycraft Thursday content going up. And when we get our streaming stuff together, which I think will be very soon, you will be seeing a lot more VODs of this show.
Every show.
On the channel as well.
But this show, every Tuesday, you'll be able to tune in live. You'll be able to watch it at work if you have that freedom. If you don't work, you'll be able to watch it in your underwear. Instead of just listening, you will be able to see people's mouths move along with their voice.
There you go.
Which that will be happening.
We are moving towards a completely like a VOD-centric type of thing. I mean, you'll still have the podcast, of course, because that's where we are.
For the commuters, yeah.
But we'll also have all those VODs up because it's a lot of fun to do, and we think people enjoy it. So.
It is.
As for me, you can find me at @p_Wazoo on Twitter. Keep an eye on what we're doing. We've got some interesting stuff coming out with the new year coming around. And, yeah, we're going to have a lot more fun with what's remaining of the year. And we hope you guys will tune in to Tryhard Tuesdays and every other .p show. Give our Dota Wednesday show a listen. It is, yeah, it's on Wednesdays.
Wannabe Wednesdays is the working title.
Wannabe Wednesdays is the working title with Korean barbecue and Wood Shrew. So check that out, guys. It's a show that's getting off the ground. They've got a lot of good stuff. I've listened to it quite a bit, and I really enjoy it. So
maybe they know what's in the patch.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, they're like 5K players.
They're on the phone with Ice Frog, like, really? I don't think Doom needs to be buffed that hard. Like, have you seen his win rate? No.
Scorched Doom, dude. They're just going to combine the abilities.
Yeah. I swear to God, I'm just going to like lose my mind. I'm just going to be ranting on Twitter, just, what's in the patch? What's in the patch?
Just join Reddit, dude. Join the mob.
Dude, I've already joined. I'm a fully fledged member of the Reddit army.
Yeah, dude. They made it to the top of RL. #1 on RL. About 6.86.
Yeah. I saw that.
I was like, what the fuck?
So we're going to go ahead and close the show out, guys. Thanks for tuning in to Tryhard Tuesdays. And stay classy, stay hard, my friends.